An 80-metre super yacht being towed through the Dutch countryside. A 60-metre super yacht facing sea states of 5 and 30 knots of wind. And a 57-metre super yacht that's just started to be built. All of this is just a fraction of what's happening at Heesen. Yachts for Sale and Charter YouTube channel here, opening a window into the world of yacht brokerage. And as you know, part of being an efficient yacht broker is knowing what's going on in some of the world's most important shipyards. So today we're looking at Heesen and starting with that 80-metre project. The 80-metre project was previously known as Project Cosmos. It's actually the largest yacht ever to be built at the Heesen shipyard and is now named Galactica. Now, Galactica was launched at their shipyard in Os. That's quite far inland in the Netherlands. From there, it was taken to the North Sea and specifically to a place called Harlingen, which is on the coast, for fitting out and for sea trials. Now, if you think that this doesn't look quite the same as this, you'll understand why a section of the superstructure was removed when you see these images of the yacht passing under a bridge with just inches to spare. Now, Galactica is designed to have a top speed of 29 knots at half load, but still a range of 4,000 nautical miles at 14 knots. Just to give you an idea of what that means, it would take about 10 days to cross the Atlantic at that speed, depending, of course, on where you leave and at what point you arrive. They're able to do this with a very special hull. It's a shape called a fast displacement hull form. It's built from aluminium, as is the superstructure. Now, Heesen, of course, are a luxury yacht builder. They build luxury yachts, and there's not much luxurious about being tossed about in the ocean, but still very often I get comments from viewers who appreciate the beauty of a yacht and then say, yes, but what's it like in rough seas? Well, in the case of Heesen, we don't have to guess what it's like. We know, because the next yacht we're looking at is the 60-metre Lucine. Now, Lucine is actually in the process now of being delivered to her new owner. She has a 60-metre yacht. Once again, she has that fast displacement hull form. This time, though, she has a steel hull and an aluminium superstructure. When she went out on her sea trials, there was actually a sea state of 5. And the wind speed was at 30 knots. Now, to give you an idea of what a sea state of 5 means, that means that the waves were somewhere between 8 feet and 13 feet high. So it's interesting to hear the comments of the captain who was actually on those sea trials. He remarked on how very well behaved the yacht was and how very safe that he felt even under those circumstances. Now, Lucine is expected to have a top speed of 17.5 knots and a 4,200 nautical mile range at 13 knots. Not quite as fast as Galactica, but in part that's because of that steel hull that she has. You may wonder how they actually build that, since you can't weld steel to aluminium, and if you try to bolt the two materials together, there's a chemical reaction which is very corrosive. I actually answered that question in a past video, and Heesen themselves were very kind to expand on the subject. So at the very end of this video, I'm going to put a link to that video just in case you didn't spot it. It's fascinating stuff. They're really busy at Heesen right now, and as one yacht gets delivered, another one has just started to be built. Akira, in fact, started to be built at the Heesen shipyard on the 9th of February, so not long ago at all. Clearly she's being built to the American Bureau of Shipping classification, because the ABS were actually there when the building started. Now, the ABS or any other classification society will attend the construction of the yacht at key moments just to make sure that everything's been done to their standards. In this case, Akira is being built entirely from aluminium. She's 57 meters long, has a top speed of 22 knots, and her range at 13 knots will be 3,900 nautical miles. Now, the design of this hull was made by a company called Lucine. They're actually the people who pioneered the fast displacement hull form. And as a matter of fact, even though it's a displacement yacht, the shipyards say that the fuel consumption will be about half that of a conventional hull built from steel of the same size. The draft of the yacht is about 2.3 meters, so she's going to be absolutely fantastic for using in the Bahamas. And the interior volume of the yacht is really impressive too. She has a gross tonnage of 780. Now, as you may know, gross tonnage is not a reference to weight, but rather to the interior volume of the yacht. And there are 400 square meters of luxury interior space. Again, for those of you that can identify more with feet than with meters, that's about 4,300 square feet of interior luxury space. The owner's stateroom is 63 square meters, so that's about 678 square feet. And a comment that I found interesting that the shipyard made is that the interiors, which are designed by Harrison Iceguard, were designed in parallel with the design of the engineering departments. So by keeping the engineering and the interior design working together, there was no conflicts during the design of the yacht and therefore during the build. And that's quite a skill actually, because what Iceguard's done here is it's designed a very elegant looking interior, but that still has room for an owner to customize. And that last aspect is actually very important because Akira is being built on spec by Heesen for somebody to buy. So it's great that Iceguard has been able to put together an interior that looks very elegant, very inviting, but still leaves room for somebody to put their own personal touches on. Naturally, the earlier that somebody buys that yacht, the more they'll be able to change. The later that you leave it, the more difficult it becomes to make changes to the interior. Now that is just a fraction of what's happening at Heesen. They have other yachts in build, they're doing lots of exciting projects. I'm really looking forward to keeping up with them during this year and reporting back to you. And on the subject of reporting back to you, I don't just report to you in the form of this regular vlog feature, but also through an email newsletter that I publish. And actually, I'm just about to press publish on the latest newsletter right now. Except I don't think I will. I think what I'll do is I will send it out tomorrow morning. That gives all of you a chance to sign up to the newsletter, which you can do by clicking on the link in the description below this video. While you're at it, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so as well. And remember, if you've enjoyed this video, not to smash the like button, but to delicately extend your index finger and just give it a little touch.